Hey, T-Zippers. How was your day today? Whew. I'm gonna try not to be here long. I'm gonna try to keep it right below 2 hours. I think I'm gonna be able to make it. Come on in. Two more closing arguments to go. Why? Okay. Hey, Betty. Hey, Willie. Hey, plus size Betty. Hey, T-Zippers. How you doing? Let me go get me some tea. Y'all got some tea? What you sipping on? Willie Spencer, what you sipping? Betty? Oh, Lord. I'm not Laquita. No. I look like Laquita. I don't look like AunTeaFee today. Ooh. I'm hungry too. Yeah, this, if you didn't pick the right name for that whiskey. I told you. Mango. I told you he was the wizard. And when I was getting this together, I was hearing myself talking about Robert Earl. Robert Earl. I'm only trying to help you with this one. I don't have anything else to say about them other colors. Was he mad, babe? Was he mad? She looked at him like, you supposed to be, why are you talking to me like that, boy? I don't care if these did it or didn't. Only one. And you know what was funny when I thought about it last night? The other, you know, the little other white guy, he was clear. He was clear. Who was he up there for? He was up there for Bean. He was clear that there, you know, I'm only speaking about this one particular thing because there's some things that went on that I'm not in agreement with. And I said to myself, right there, he's saying that the rest of that was violation. He kind of on the cool threw it out there. Oh, a lot of that shit they did was unacceptable. Yes, he did. He said it's just this shit. Just this. Just this. But let them try that on one of them and see how many violations they get. See if they say the same thing. No. I was listening to some chick. I gotta get back to the Carmelo Anthony, cause they say it's some chick. You know, oh, they killed me. You know, I hate to say this, but I'm just telling y'all what I was thinking about just a minute ago. Am I talking like them? Some little chick. They talking about. I don't like that. Oh, I don't like him either. Oh, I don't like him either. And I knew he was gonna get, what word can I say? I don't like him either. And he just had to find a way to talk out, you know. And then get disrespectful. I mean, I think she's a good lady. Ooh, we gonna look at it. I don't like him either. Never have, though. Never have. He's always been kind of forceful. Arrogant. But I guess most attorneys are narcissistic. I guess. I don't know. I got so pissed. Ooh, And see, and this funny thing about it, that, they didn't even know him. They went to the door and they said, do Tyre Nichols live here? And they said, no. They don't even want to claim him. I said, oh. And if that happened, that's our fault. That's our fault. If that really happened, that's our fault. See, to me, that's what's up under that rug. Lord, don't get me started on the rug. If that happened, because that was the first time I heard that. But if indeed that happened, that reminds me a long time ago when your mama said, don't open the door. And if they come to the door, tell them I ain't here. Or if they call, tell them I ain't here. It just had that old, texture to me. Instead of saying, what's wrong? What done happened? You say no. Why? Because, hell, whatever he did or whatever they looking for, it ain't going to go away. So I just don't know why we do that. If they did, because, again, that was the first time I heard that. And which didn't, when he tried to say, hell, something must be wrong with him. Is he mental? Does he got some issues? Ooh, I cannot stand him. Ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to say Tadarrius. Well, Tadarrius is not going to get as much as Haley. Now that I don't believe. I do not believe he. I mean, it's he can't, because I don't remember him being a part. He wasn't a part of the first stop. Hey, Vicky, he wasn't a part of the first stop. So if he wasn't a part of the first stop, because that was Hempfield, and why he didn't get, oh, I guess because he didn't go to the second location, right? Was hesitant. Hesitant because I don't think he wanted his wife to hear. I don't care. Plus, but don't. Even if that's the case, don't deny my son. Don't deny my son. Whatever it is, we in it together. Don't deny my son. Period. Unless you want me to deny your kids. And I don't even want that. I'm not denying. I'm not cool with that. But I understand it. But I'm just not cool with it. I'm just not cool with it. Don't, and if he your stepson, don't deny my son. Now, unless he don't live there and he has his own spot, then that means that he don't live there. He may have just been going to his mama's house. That part I don't know. You know, he been working at FedEx for a while. But don't deny my son. Woo! Guess what, plus size baddie? I know he said that today when he threw that up in their face. Cause it knocked all us upside our head. It's like, what? They said what? Hell no. They didn't even want to deny him, so he must got some problems. You know. Ooh, I can't stand that man. Ooh. Thank you. You know. But we gonna listen to it together and break it down. But they wasn't there long, were they? And then that cat we was watching last night, who be in our bushes sometimes, you know. Woo! But that's okay, you know. Just please hit the like button. See, it don't make no sense right now. It don't make no sense if I tell you how many likes I got right now. You would not believe it. And it don't make no sense. See, to me, that's hate. What you hate me for? See, you made me think you hate the truth. The truth set you free, though. You made me think that you hating because I got a little bit of sense. You know what I'm saying? Made me think you hate because I can connect them dots. Made me think you hate because I make sure my tea sippers are not falling for y'all bananas in the tailpipes. Let that be the reason. Y'all know, Betty, it's your fault. Laquita trying to pop out. Let that be the reason. They want my tea sippers to be slow. Slow to the little old yellow bus, you know. But anyway, let's go. Let's go. I saw Ben Crump popped out. I saw old boy. He had on his suit and tie, you know. He hated it. He said it right away. So yeah, let's pick him on apart. Cause I'm tired and I ain't ate. Thank you. Maybe I could order me something to eat, huh? Y'all ready to go? Y'all say goodbye to the... Oh my goodness. Let me set it up. I ran completely out of juice today. Completely out of juice. But I don't think they was in there this long today. Well, the second go round. Baby, I think something going on. Because he just kind of cut it short again today and said, so they won't have any interruptions. I'm like, who interrupted court? What? Excuse me. Who interrupted court today? I've been trying to remain professional. I've been trying to remain professional about that judge. Y'all know I ain't no good. Huh? Come on, AunTeaFee. Oh, it's moving. It's moving. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just want to say thank you, Lord, for all you done for. It's coming on, y'all. It could have been me, because you know, once I start moving it, I go too far. I gotta back that thing up. Y'all go get you some tea. It's coming on. It's coming on. Could have been me out there. Okay, let me see. See, I told you.
Mr. Stingle just said regarding Rule 29, the rarity of it and the fact that you've now heard extensive proof. Mr. Stingle just said regarding Rule 29, the rarity of it and the fact that you've now heard.
Yeah, I don't know what he said before that, so I'm gonna leave it right here, y'all. And let's wait and see what the end gonna be. Oh my goodness. Oh, that don't smell too good. Now,
I understand that there is one exhibit that we still need to admit. Are you all prepared to present that?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a flash drive, Exhibit 1. It contains video evidence that was introduced.
Can y'all hear?
in the trial.
Flash drive.
oh, I didn't think Hagerman was there, cause okay.
We're going to print out, Your Honor, a list of videos that's on there real quick. Literally within the next 1 minute. We probably should put that with the exhibit.
State will do that. Here's the comment. Take up the second motion.
And at this time, I'd like to renew my motion for acquittal. I think that the court has heard the motion that we did at the end of the
this ain't the right one. Hold on. I'm tripping. Oh, no, y'all, hold on.
Presentations that show
Oh, no, that was earlier.
abundance of evidence.
That is definitely not the right one.
Of proof in regards to there being, proof is all pointed towards innocence for there being. Based on that, I would ask if this court would
Denied.
consider my motion for acquittal.
My bad, y'all. I've been sitting here waiting on the wrong one.
Demetrius Haley, we renew the motion for judgment acquittal pursuant to.
Where's the other one? Lord, what is that? Oh, they kept. My bad, y'all. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Shit.
And then how it escalated.
I'm tripping. I'm thinking it was out.
Presentation.
It was separate. Yeah, I'm tripping. Let me go. Let me eat. I'm like, what? I'm the only one that's breaking it up in part one, part two, cause my phone be out of juice. Lord. I got it, y'all. It's right here. I yanked that down real quick, didn't I? All rise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of our jury. This is, as we've talked about, sometimes the difficult part of after eating a big lunch, having to sit down in here and listen. But we're going to ask for you all to be attentive. We are going to turn the time over to Mr. Perry for your closing remarks. Please support. Yes, sir.
January 7th, 2023, at 8:30 more or less. Tadarrius didn't know anything about Tyre Nichols. He didn't know anything about what Tyre Nichols had done. At that time, he didn't know anything about the fact that moments earlier, Tyre Nichols drove from 285 in Riverdale all the way to Ross in Rains while having blue lights cut on at first and then cut off because Memphis has a no chase policy. At 8:30, Tadarrius Bean would not have known whether or not Tyre Nichols had a gun, whether or not he had a knife, whether or not he knew self-defense. He didn't know whether he had murdered anybody. He didn't know whether or not he had kidnapped somebody or carjacked somebody. Because those are the things that Tadarrius Bean has to interact with on a nightly basis.
He
Those
chose
are
to.
the types of arrests that he's made.
He chose to.
At 8:30, Tadarrius Bean was a passenger in a vehicle that had a person in handcuffs because they had a warrant. And he hears that a person has been tased and pepper sprayed and had gotten away from his fellow officer. That's all that Tadarrius Bean knew.
And he let the
So
felon go.
2, on that same evening, while he's a passenger looking into the night for a suspect, not knowing what he had done or who he had done it to, he looks out the window and sees the person who meets that description. Tadarrius Bean, after he saw that suspect and met that description, would have a faith that would intercept with somebody who, according to his mom, didn't have it all together. At 8:32, Tadarrius Bean, not knowing anything about this man, did this. That's what he's trying to do. He sees a person that meets a description and he runs to get that person. No more, no less. He doesn't know anything about this. He doesn't know this is in the man's car.
Hell, we could say he didn't know this was in the car.
To that man. But he doesn't know that. All he knows is that this person, after being lawfully stopped and attempted to be searched, took off running and overcame 3 grown men. And he attempts to do his job. I told you at the beginning that the law in this case would come from the judge, and that hasn't changed. But the facts come from this stand. And the facts that was turned in red on this all support not guilty verdicts on all counts for Tadarrius Bean. Every witness supported Bean's not guilty. Every one of them. When asked about him holding this person and why he's holding him, every witness says the same thing. You can't let a person go if he has one cuff on and one cuff off. You just can't do it. Every witness, all of the documentary evidence supports Bean being not guilty. You see those items that are stolen. That's from the person who was just getting sesame chicken. But Bean doesn't do anything to punish this person. He's trying to apprehend him. Every witness says that. Every witness and all the videos support the fact that he's not guilty. And we'll go into these in more detail in the moments to come. If you isolate the actions of Tadarrius Bean, did he have probable cause to chase the suspect? Clearly he did. Was it proper to chase the suspect? And did he chase him in a proper way? All of the witnesses say the same thing, yes. The evidence shows that Bean, while pepper sprayed, maintained in the constant struggle with the suspect. You heard from the state's witness, Mills, that he pepper sprayed. Not only did you hear from him, but afterwards, when you hear this conversation, the so-called high-fiving about what happened, you hear, and during that conversation, Bean talking about his eyes burning. But in addition to talking about his eyes burning, he also talks about the fact that I bust my shit again too, meaning his knee. And you'll hear him talk about how the sutures in his knee opened while he's out there on that particular night. You'll hear that you heard rather, there's no direct proof of any kicks coming from Bean whatsoever. The only strikes, if you slow it down and you take it at a quarter speed in particular, you see that all strikes are to the forearm after Tyre Nichols is turned over and is reaching up. He pushes the officers off of him
while he's on the ground, and they're asking for him to get on his stomach so they can put cuffs on him. It's impractical and dangerous for being to let the suspect's hands go. And you heard about the one handcuff on, and you saw the experts in the case. And once again, you should judge Bean's actions based off of the training that he received, and you saw the evidence regarding the training. Scorpion Unit, once again, the evidence supports the fact that it was a street crimes operation to restore peace in our neighborhood, that the unit was created to interact with gangs, violent criminals, and to apprehend guns, dope, and money, and they were being told how successful it was. Created in 2021, and it consisted of several teams. And you also heard from both witnesses about how Team 1 was sent to the most dangerous places in response to the most dangerous fights in crime. And you heard from Mills and Hemphill regarding how they were being congratulated from the brass at the top about the effectiveness of the unit. You had to be selected into the unit. They didn't just ask you to, well, you want to apply to the Scorpion team. They would come and talk to your superiors and ask you, does this person have the type of character and abilities to serve on this type of interactive team? Let's go back to those actions on January 7th. Just like what came from the witnesses, they met on Flickr at 6 for roll call. They were assigned out in that East Memphis area due to the spike in auto burglaries and thefts and carjacking. A person driving away from blue lights is indicative of those types of activities. Detective Bean was part of a two-man car, Mills being the driver of that car, and Bean was the passenger. At around 8:30, Detective Bean and Mills have a person in custody with warrants, and they let the misdemeanor warrants go in order to respond to that other location. And the suspect had been tased and pepper spray. That comes out over the radio. So that's what their interactions are based on. Detective Bean and Mills see the person, and you saw earlier at 8:32, Bean makes contact from inside his car with him visually, and when he tries to speak to him, the guy takes off running. And then you see that 3-minute struggle. Now, Detective Bean and Detective Justice Smith get to the person almost simultaneously, but Detective Bean doesn't know Justice Smith is even out there on a perimeter. He knows that he's running after this person who has made eye contact with him and made the decision to run away from him. That's all that he knows, and he tries to apprehend him. He used the use of force continuum, and you'll get a chance to read that yourself. Visual presence, verbal commands, and then how it escalates into hard hands. And you don't have to go step by step. They can jump in escalation. Use of pepper spray, the use of verbal judo, the use of hard hands slapping the person's wrist. None of those are out of the ordinary or anything wrong. Once the suspect was finally secured in handcuffs, and you look at the videos yourself, when handcuffs went on this person, nobody came up and got a kick, nobody came up and got an extra punch, nobody came up and shook him or did anything inappropriate to him. Once the handcuffs were on, the interaction was over.
Dead. His brain was dead.
The chance that when you're back there, review the policy that's been submitted as evidence. You heard from the experts regarding active and passive training, high-risk stops, the response to resistance within that policy, how hard hands and kicks and punches and slaps
Because he was brain dead, man.
And apprehension process, and the use of force continuum. You heard about tunnel vision.
I can't believe that he let a felon go
Training in
to go get him.
The only person that had a taser on that team was Enfield at that time, and how the taser prongs, how the taser hit him. He says, you'll hear the videos, I hit the bastard. Now here, after being questioned, and as he used the term and I used it, browbeat, he says he didn't know for sure where they hit him. You judge by the video whether or not it looks like the tasers hit him. It's that simple. You heard from, and I asked the question of the expert, Mr. Cameron, regarding ineffective force versus excessive, because he's written about it and he's presented about it. Ineffective, if you're looking from a sky cam, looks the same as excessive. It just does. If it's not working, it looks excessive. But when you look at the body-worn cameras, and you have to do it in order to appreciate what they're trying to do and what they're going through and trying to get the guy into custody, It's showing they're not trying to punish somebody on the side of the road because you got this person's ID, or you got this person, you were involved in a crime, and we're just gonna beat the heck out of you. That's not what this was about. This was trying to get this man into handcuffs. Mr. Mills regrets using his aspartame, and I'm sure he regrets the verbiage that he used. I wanted him to testify, and he did so, about the time in which he changed his plea, because his initial statements was it was by the book. He didn't have the access of the book and looking at it and all that stuff at the time. This was a mere day or two afterwards, and he talked about how he responded and how he acted. But after hours and hours with the Department of Justice, and somebody saying, well, it sounds like you're pissed off. Yeah, it does, all of a sudden change to, well, maybe I shouldn't have used the aspartame. But in fact, he used the aspartame verbatim the way that MPD teaches you. 3 strikes to the arms. Nobody's hit this man in the head with an aspartame or with any other instrument. He does not get struck with that aspartame anywhere but where they train you, between here and here. And you'll have the opportunity to go back and look at Mills' body-worn camera in order to assess that. And it's important that you do because it tells the story as how they are moving away from the person, and he still hasn't come into compliance with their request. The use of an aspartame happens. The witnesses in the case, when doing the opening presentation, you don't really know exactly how much a person might be incentivized by the fact that if you're looking at life and you've negotiated down to no more than 15, etc., that might play a role in saying, well, you know what, I'm going to stretch the truth this far against them. But Mills was honest. He said that their use of force, according to him, when they're holding on, and when I asked him about it, can they let go to talk about somebody striking a person at that time? He said no. The danger is still there for the officers until the handcuffs, or the bracelets as they call them, are on the person. We talked about the fact that being, you'll have an instruction regarding character witnesses. Nobody refutes the fact that Bean has the type of character that he had, that he's by the book. They won't go get a hamburger in an issued car if they say you can't get a hamburger in your issued car. The fact that the person who came in from Mr. Taylor from college said that, hey, even when there was a little money missing, this, that, or the other, he took it so seriously that he came and got me from across campus at the law school and said, how do I deal with this? Let's go to the bank. I want
they cuffed him out of their head, beat him.
That's the type of person that he is. Then you hear from Mr. McKinney.
Now we found out he had been knocked out and everything.
They were in the same class. I wanted him to talk to you about the effect that it had on him. You'll see how it affected him. But he talked about Mr. Bean's character. That is stellar. You heard from his FTO trainer, or field training officer. He's one of his favorite persons that he has trained through the years because you tell him one time how to do it, and that's how he's going to do it person.
Yeah. Did he tell him how to beat somebody in the head?
They're the experts.
And kick him?
The state didn't produce an expert.
He did it perfect.
Think about that. The funds and things that the state might have at their availability can't find one person to say to you all that Tadarrius Bean's actions were inappropriate. You can say it, Bo. You can try to tear it up. You can almost cry about it. You can say he just wanted to be a good objective. But it does not change the fact that Tadarrius Bean acted the way that he's supposed to act. The time for sympathies and stuff like that, I have the highest degree of respect for Ms. Wells. I didn't ask
you don't.
She lost her son. I understand
You're a lie.
Any mother who loses a son, obviously, would have pain. But driving is a privilege. A person cannot take that privilege to do whatever it might be. Driving, having to stop for blue lights, getting out of a car and acting like you might have done things that you didn't do. They don't know the answers to that as public servants while they are trying to bring this person into custody. They don't have the privilege of second guessing it.
I don't like that blue light
It's
stuff.
not fair. All of the experts indicated that Bean's actions were appropriate. and then look at the videos. Keep in mind, and it's kind of underscored when Ms. Headley was discussing it earlier, but Bean cuts that video off. The video does not all of a sudden get volume a minute later. What it means is while he's running towards the person, he hits it. And your body worn camera is constantly recording. And then once you trigger it, it keeps the recording instead of recording over it. That's why the volume doesn't come on for a minute. So after he's in the course of running towards this person, supposedly going to do something to punish the man that he's never met before, he triggers his body-worn camera and gets to him and then stops him. But that's his body-worn camera that you hear her discuss about the sounds and things like that. It comes off because Tadarrius being, while he's trying to arrest Mr. Nichols, is in that scuffle where Mr. Nichols is constantly reaching up and knocks it off. But that's his triggered body-worn camera. The officers were aware, and you heard Mr. Mills say, well, I didn't know it for anything. There's no testimony whatsoever as to what Tadarrius Bean would have known as he's running towards the person, and they pass this blinking blue light. They know that there's an overhead there. That's no surprise to them. Now, as far as the person who was there and he's been talking about the hours that they've spent in front of Department of Justice, then it might change to a shock me moment. Yeah, that was the first time I knew about it. But there's been no testimony as to whether or not Tadarrius Bean knew that there was a recording. What we do know is that he recorded himself because he hit that button. And you got to consider the distance and the angle of that pole camera. Next. This is an isolation of the punches that we're talking about, and it's taken from the Sky camera, the Sky Cop camera time. And so it just outlines the force that's used. The red lines at the top, you got two different kicks. You can't tell whether they land, and Ms. Headley talked about a thud on a camera, from the sound of a camera. That's not the same as looking at something and telling whether or not that type of force was administered. And you definitely don't know whether or not it's being seen while Tadarrius Bean is looking down at this guy trying to bend his arm in a way to put handcuffs on. The baton being deployed. If you'll note, and I forget the exact phrase, but it sounds like clear or move back, when he pushed the baton out, they didn't stand in a location around Mr. Nichols to make this ass baton have to hit him in the head. They cleared so he could get to the place where they tell you to administer the blow, to the arm. That's why they get out of the way like that. And that's how you're supposed to. Then it appears that Martin slaps him with an open hand, and then Martin hits him. And nobody is here to say Martin did not hit him. Martin's not here. So as to what was going on in his mind and what he thought he was going to do, there's been no testimony regarding that and how Tadarrius Bean, who's holding on to an arm in these seconds, can all of a sudden say, hey, time out everybody, y'all stop, everybody stop. And know whether or not Mr. Nichols is just going to stand there and say, we're all good now. You can put the handcuffs on me. But what I do know, brutal though it sounds, after the hitting, he failed when they pushed him put him to the ground, and the interaction stopped while he's back on the ground. They're on him, still trying to get the handcuffs on him, and they still can't get it until somebody comes in, really, until they can get the man's legs to stop moving and hold the leg for a second so that they can get him steady enough to put the handcuffs on him. And when you're looking at it, look at it from the fact that you're trying not to break his arm or dislocate his arm. That's what the concern of Tadarrius Bean is, and you can tell by their body movements. They're trying not to hurt his arms. That's what they're focusing on. They're trying to get those arms behind him, and he won't put them in a position where they can put the cuffs on him. And it's that simple. There's a lot of discussion about the size of the individual. Tadarrius Bean's 5'10". Tyre Nichols is 6'3", according to the hospital records. According to the records, he's 180, and he's 6'3". Next.
Or
I indicated
how
that
much
I would
does
not talk
Bean
about
weigh?
what he was before or after that night, because I'm not concerned with trying to in any way disparage Mr. Nichols.
Yes, you are.
I know that when they got to the door, that for the initial interaction with the police, it was, I don't know it. Until the police, and you'll recall it, you'll get a chance to play that video. The police had to say, so y'all hadn't lived here that long or what have you. This person's ID says that he lives here. And eventually they say, okay, what's going on? They don't know what all he's into. But there definitely had to have been something that this person said, I don't know. So you're expecting Mr. Bean to know the level of force and the level of coercion that it would take to get this man in the handcuffs when his own folks say that they don't know him. We know that he did drive 2 miles away from the blue lights and sirens. You'll see the reenactment. You heard the testimony of Mr. Hemphill, and you'll see the videos that are involved, and you'll see the camera inside the car of Mr. Martin. You know that he ran from the first scene, and he ran from Detective Bean. That was from the testimony of Hemphill and from Mr. Mills. Nichols drove in a manner to avoid police detention. That's according to Mr. Hemphill's testimony. We know that he refused to stop, and he subsequently resist arrest. Mr. Nichols would know that he had dope in the car and the stolen credit cards and the stolen ID. Does he have a right to resist being stopped? All of the experts say that he doesn't. Ms. Headley says that he doesn't. And I agree that he doesn't. Does he ignore lawful commands for his hands to be handcuffed? All 3 experts said that he did. He ignored those lawful commands. Was he actively resisting by running and walking and pulling away from Detective Bean? And the answer is yes. And that's according to all of the experts that are involved. And the actions at 6705 Ross Ridge are important because they show that this is not just somebody trying to get home for chicken or whatever it might be. This is the actions of a person who's doing whatever he is between those cars.
Has he ever been arrested before? Did he have a history of drugs?
And why he's trying to get away from them. They don't know that. They don't have the ability to check inside of his mind. They don't have the ability to even know he's out at 6705. They know that he's gotten away from them, and they're trying to bring him in. That's all. Tadarrius Bean is on trial. Mr. Nichols is not on trial.
But he had a felon and he let him go.
You know, he graduated.
He had a felon,
the academy.
but he let him go.
He gets out of the academy. He's riding with Mr. Turner. He started out as a patrolman 2, and Mr. Turner was an FTO officer. He had no write-ups while he's in that precinct. He had no complaints against him. And this is not only while he's in the precinct, but while he's a member of the Scorpion team. He had no issues or accusations of misconduct. Keep in mind, this is not some case when you're talking about, because you'll look at the official oppression, the oppression.
Get it out.
Card. This is not some case where they're out trying to beat up guys that are accused of selling drugs or trying to make a fast buck or doing something to escort dope dealers or to try to beat up somebody behind an alley because allegedly he did something wrong or that they disagree with. This is simply textbook police work where you're trying to get a man into custody that is resisting, and you can't do it. And he took his job seriously. He was assigned to Team 1, and that's it. These are the reasons why, and you'll have the 7 charges, and I think you got 35 different subsets. And sometimes people say, well, we don't think that it was second-degree murder. We think that it was reckless homicide, etc. All of those charges require some form of intent or recklessness. And keep that in mind. So the word that you will see in those charges will show that it can't just be, well, we got to, us 3 want all acquittal, and the rest of us say, well, we shouldn't give the family something. These are not compromise charges. These are charges that have to be met until they give violence to your individual judgment. In other words, these are charges that they had the burden of proving. and they just haven't proved. But in this case, unlike most cases where it is something, and I'm gonna go through a chart with the burden of proof, etc., where you actually have reasons that you can rely on while you're arguing back here with your co-jurors, if there are any people that think that they've proved anything. Number one, be in response to a distress call the way he's trained. Do you want your officer not to do that? Number two, there's no plan to harm anybody. All of them said the same thing. There was no conspiracy or, hey, first guy we get tonight, we're going to try to beat the hell out of him. There was no discussion about Nichols whatsoever. Number three, he chases the suspect as he's trained down a dark street. He doesn't know what he has. He relies on his courage out of that night that covered him black looking from pole to pole, like the poet would say. He did that on his own as he was trained. Knows the suspect has overpowered 3 officers. That's what the call out is. He knows that that's dangerous. Number 4, only hits the suspect's hands. There are times that if they wanted to beat or pummel this dude or break his nose or break his neck, they had that opportunity. When Tadarrius Bean and Justin Smith are trying to get his hands, why not just start wailing on him? Hitting him in the jaw, hitting him in the face, kicking him, stomping him out. Did they do that? Y'all saw the videos. That's not what happened. Next number, 3 experts and police officers all agree with Bean's actions, that they were appropriate under those circumstances. There's no conversation about injury or restraining or training or killing Nichols at all from any of their witnesses. Bean manually and intentionally activates his body-worn camera. So to do all of these 7 things that they're saying that they're accusing him of doing, he wanted to record it. So in addition to being this great guy and everything that they make fun of, he's an idiot. He wants to record himself, create these or commit these criminal acts according to them. Bean acknowledged Nichols' strength. You hear the conversations after. These high-five conversations, which is this. He's the hardest dude that we've had to arrest. And I'm going to, excuse my French, and I'm going to just try to talk to y'all plain and forgive me. And if anybody walks to me or whatever, that I apologize for the cussing. But they are out there wondering, to use her words, what the fuck is going on? When Ronald Wells said she had to look at her son, she wanted to know what the fuck was going on. They wanted to know it. That's what they're saying back behind the truck. Man, he's high as fuck. God damn. Man, I bust my shit again. Man, I had to reopen my knee. I'm supposed to be off tonight. That's what these public servants are discussing. Where she's saying that it's high five and beer time, they're discussing this guy who, out of all those different arrests that they've had, have never had this type of issue. This is another thing. Hardcore, hard dope dealers or thugs or whatever you might want to call them, they might be bad. Usually, when they get to the police and the police say, put their hands behind my back, you know what they do?
Run. Run.
They might be saying, I'm going to call a judge and see if he can get me out of this.
Put line.
Do what he did. That's not him trying to be some martyr. That's him, for whatever reason, thinking that he's more important than the process. Being observed, Nichols ignore these lawful commands. So while they're saying, hey, I'm going to be altruistic and say, we need to stop trying to hit him, he's supposed to overcome his own emotion, trying to get this guy into custody, his own adrenaline, his own fatigue, and be able to say, man, his own eyes burning, and say, hey, y'all, you can't hit, don't hit. Because I think there's some human factors that one of the experts talked about, Mr. Zalicki. Being observed, Nichols gather his legs up. Remember when he's on the ground and they seemingly would have come into some compliance under, you heard Mr. Mills talk about what the aspartame does. What's his response to it? He still stands up and tries to walk off. Now, in this instance, in this case, because of the case and all that stuff, is, he can try to run because he's scared of these officers. Does that make sense? Ask yourselves when you're all discussing it. He's just so scared that he wants to stand up and walk off from these officers as opposed to turning over, putting his hand behind his back, and allowing the cuffs to go on. Witnesses testified that Bean is by the book. No prior instances like we talked about before. Nichols was motivated to flee and flight. He's got dope, stolen credit cards, and stolen IDs. That's a motivation for him to act like he did. Once the handcuffs were on, who struck him again? Who kicked him? Who talked bad to him? Not a single person once the handcuffs were on. There's no DNA evidence regarding
because they knew they went too far.
And what benefit would Bean have from injuring Mr. Nichols? What benefit to him? There's nothing here that indicates that he would have gotten any sort of thrill out of it or any sort of money gain, nothing. And so when you look at these 20-some odd reasons, think about this one also. Think about the video of 6705 Ross Ridge, where Nichols is not yelling for neighbors to come help him or not running his tail off to get to home and all of that. He's ducking and dodging between cars. And you heard the testimony from Mr. Baker that nobody ever went out there to see if there was anybody else's credit cards or anybody or any items that would help you break into a car and steal these credit cards. Nobody ever searches or does anything regarding that because the focus was on how it looked and the possible public outcry. That's what the focus was on. And the investigation from the gate was biased. It wasn't any focus about both sides of it. It was all the rumors and innuendos that might be out there about what these guys might have wanted to do and all this type of stuff, but nothing about how difficult it was to bring this guy into custody. This is only, and this will not go back to you for evidentiary purposes, but I want to give emphasis to it because it shows where he is, and you'll have your own individual notes. And this is during the time that there were any strikes rendered. And this is based off of the overhead of the Skycam video. Time that the pepper spray goes all these different ways. Bean's eyes are still blurred and burning, but he has to have a hand on this suspect that has run off from 2 different locations. And he does that. And that's at 20, 33, and 57. This is the time in the video you hear Mr. Smith yelling out the different, trying to read the locations. Bean is still
because they're going to try to kill you.
Person. He's not looking at Martin or what Martin's about to do or can do. His focus is down, and you look at where his head is, it's down. And that's at 20, 34, and 12 seconds. And when you slow it down, slow it to a quarter and see if you can tell whether or not the kick connects to him on either of those kicks. Y'all do it back there. You have the ability, it's the evidence that you got away. But look at it for those purposes as well.
What you wanted to be done to your son, sir. That's all I want to know.
Mills is walking off, trying to regather his breathing. Bean and Smith don't have that luxury. They don't have that luxury to gather their breaths. And all this time, could have turned on his stomach and got the handcuffs behind his back and just doesn't do it. This is when the first blow from the baton. You'll see the one hand is gathered by Mr. Bean, and he's holding it as the other is attempting to put the handcuff on. That's the 20, 34, and 56 on the Skycam video. This is the second blow from the baton. Same position, and he's holding that arm. The suspect has still done what the expert referred to as blading his body.
I'm trying to figure out what in the hell.
Not on his stomach, trying to
What?
get handcuffs.
Wait, what? Damn, just give me a ticket. I didn't put my blinker on. Hey, we are the receipts.
Mr. Nichols stands up on his own, and they don't have the luxury of saying, hey, let's just let him walk home so he can go up the street. They don't know where he lives. They're holding on to him because they do not want this suspect to get away. When you're at 2035-08, analysts on the jury and people that are athletic and understand center of gravity, look at how he's pulling when you look at the video and you're isolated at that time. This is at 2035-09, and is more definitive than just a few seconds ago. You will see his center of gravity, Mr. Bean's center of gravity, 2035. Where he's actively pulling the man away. Away from any kind
I
of
agree
blows
for fun. It's pathetic.
This is where the center of gravity gets lowest. And imagine that you're pulling somebody like this and they got the strength to not go with your pull. That's where it comes about. Man, he's strong as an MF. He's strong as hell. That's what the other folks said. Oh, he's saying when they're over there, man, he was eating. That's what they are offended by. The fact that after dealing with all of this, they say, you know, a person takes pepper spray, punches, etc. He just was eating that stuff because it looked like he was high to them. And as he tries to walk away, Bean grabs that right arm and says, no, you can't walk away as a suspect. Just can't do it. Because at this point, I don't know what you have done and why you have done and why are you acting like this. I don't know it. That's it. That is what you'll see on the videos that offends the state, and I understand that, and that is their case. But this is their case, and this is their burden of proof. Criminal defense cases or criminal cases, you have the highest burden of proof in the history of mankind. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not a standard where you're across the street and trying to get custody, or if you're trying to get money on a case where you're preponderance of the evidence, etc. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This case, more than any that I've ever had, is not only in this gray area, blue area, it's not in here where it would be not guilty. It's down here, proven not guilty. He videotaped himself, but you got the witnesses. We deal with Mills. Mills is the first witness that they called. That was a fact witness. No plan, no plot, no conspiracy, no knowledge of what Bean was doing. I mean, what Nichols was doing, I'm sorry. You don't have them being in the car mad, talking about, man, I don't want to be on work tonight. I'm sick of this stuff. I'm sick of the city. I'm sick of the problems that they put us on the front line to deal with. None of that. Just a regular night. They're going about their job. Mills did not testify that Payne used excessive force. To the contrary, he said that this force was appropriate. Hempfield, same thing. I've never seen Benton use excessive force. I've never heard him talk about any kind of street tax. I've never seen him upset. He was a good, quiet officer that minded his business and did his work. That's their testimony. Hempfield had the ability to make up stuff for what have you. He said, you know, and everybody doesn't have people that are in the upper echelons of the police department to tell them. But he wasn't going to kowtow to what the Department of Justice said. He stuck with his story. This is what happened. I wasn't on that second scene, but I know what he was like on the first scene. I know how strong he was. I know he wasn't doing what we asked him to do. I know he was speeding. I know he was changing lanes inappropriately. I know that we followed him 2.5 miles to another location after he thought we had turned off. He stuck with his guns. He ain't facing that type of stuff. So he's smarter than the situation. But he testified favorably regarding Tadarrius being. Samantha testified they were all sworn officers. So these aren't a group of guys that's just out here jumping out of cars and trying to fight somebody or do something wrong to somebody or a vigilante group. These are sworn police officers. Mack, proven not guilty. Robert Long. I don't want to downplay what Robert Long said, but as it relates to Tadarrius being, he didn't interfere with any of the assistance given. You see him lifting this guy up, and he was exhausted. And if you don't think he's exhausted after running that many yards and somebody, count the steps. I counted 93 steps. 93 steps with 40 pounds of ammunition on.
That's what he signed up for.
You think that that's just a fun night that we want to go out and terrorize somebody?
Yeah, that's what he signed up for.
Robert Long said he wasn't a hindrance. He wasn't in the way. Did what he was supposed to do. Testified favorably for Tadarrius being. Greg Turner. He's my favorite, that's his word, trainee.
Mm-hmm.
He was studious. I told him what to do one time. I didn't have to tell him again. I was his beginning FTO officer. I was his release into the field secondary FTO officer. And I worked with him for the 2 years that he was in my precinct. Never an issue with him. It's no surprise that they came talking about Tadarrius.
When he hooked up with them thugs.
Dealing with the issues that Memphis had.
Them mob thugs.
He testified for Tadarrius being. DNA expert.
He changed.
No DNA expert talking about what all he did and I'm glad I can barely say what deoxyribonucleic acid, ribonucleic acid, or what have you. I didn't have to say any of that. Why? Because there's no evidence regarding Tadarrius being proven not guilty. Keon Taylor, I'm jumping back to the character witness. Knew him at college. Knew him at a time that, you know, you might want to get it together. He wasn't 29 years old, he's 20. But he had it together. He had his act together. In college, that's a character person. That's not somebody out playing games at night. That's a character person that has what it takes to have been a sworn MPD officer that wants to work and get home at night.
He changed.
Proven not guilty. Marco Ross. Was there any evidence about anything that Bing did regarding any strikes to the head? No, they want to say that Bing, while he's holding this guy who has broken away from 3 officers already, is supposed to be responsible for what kind of day a Detective Martin might be having. But we know one thing, that blows to the wrist didn't cause it. Blows to the wrist didn't kill him. Marco Ross, he testified in favor of Tadarrius being. Jordan Riley, Kelly Rogers, might have forgot the names, but we know one thing, they didn't know Tyre Nichols. We know that. We know that he had their stuff in their car. We know that. We know that they didn't get a ride from them and forget their purses or what have you. Why do we know that? Because this stuff happened back in October. This stuff happened back on Halloween. And ironically, the stuff is stolen on the same night it happens to be in the same person's car. I mean, y'all were 12 people, and I don't know, well, no, 14 at this time, but it'll be 12 bitch. I don't know who's smarter or who's not, but you're smart enough to have made it here. A lot smarter than I am, but I can figure this. The stuff didn't belong to Tyre Nichols, and it's in his car. So whether or not it's Sesame Chicken or trying to get away with their stuff, they testified in favor of Tadarrius Bing. 3 experts. They might say, man, well, how long have you been, Zwicky? I don't know how old Zwicky is. Zwicky's a lot of shit not probably am. And, he's like, well, I did law enforcement until about 15 years ago. But I know right from right, and I know wrong from wrong. I know what they were doing was right. I know that you have to focus on what you have to focus on. Why? Because as soon as you don't, this guy might not be
alive.
Good guy trying to get Sesame Chicken and might have a pistol in his pocket and blow your brains out. That's what they deal with on a nightly basis. I make a mistake at the table, Martin lean over and say, hey man, you know what, I should have asked that. You know what, the string might look over and say, hey man, what about this, what do you think? They make a mistake at their table, they can conjure up and say, hey, man, we should have asked this. That was a bad analogy. Let's do it this way. They can have those conversations. They can have those conversations for an hour. They can talk to you 2 hours about an incident that took place for 3 minutes. Tadarrius Bing can't do that because he'll get his head blown off. He doesn't have the choice of whether or not this man has it together. He does not have the ability to make that assessment.
Well, if he's scared, change his job.
Games have to stop. All 3. Because the state wanted them to, when asked questions regarding the circumstances that they were facing, testified in favor of proving not guilty. I chose McKinney last, well, next to last, because McKinney knew him from the academy, and then he also testified about the eyes and how it feels. And you'll see his video back there. But he testified about that situation. Johnny Major said, character is when nobody knows what you're doing. Character is what you do when the lights are off. Character is what you do when ain't nobody else watching. That's what character.
Character is, they thought they was going to get away until that Sky Cop was up there on that pole. Yeah, so they did not have character because once they spotted that smile, you on the camera, they stopped. Yeah, they don't have no character now.
Wasn't nobody watching that car when he said, hey man, come get me and run me a mile up the road. That's character. That is a person who has a fiber in him that nobody else can define for him. So when the New York Times dude
I bet he didn't do that. Haley did that. We have to wait for Haley
to see what they think about it. You know what I can say to him? I can say, hey man, if I'm his parent, I'm jumping up and down with pride that my guy can get out of a car and run it after somebody who he knows nothing about because that's what he's sworn to do. I'm not answering the door and saying, hey, does Tyre Nichols live here? No. And these are good people now. These are good people. Good neighborhood. Solid dad. Solid man. Got a son, get a job. Works with his son. I don't know him.
Oh, wow.
I don't want his problems here. I don't know him. You think about that. Police knock at your door about children. I don't know the man.
See, you know what I've noticed? That I know these people are from Chattanooga, but they have no earthly idea what the crime is like in Memphis. I mean, they have no earthly idea. They cannot know that the carjackers look just like what the gear that they have on. I mean, you just do not know. Now, I'm not making excuses for old boy daddy, but I'm just saying, I don't know y'all. I don't know what's going on. And as far as Tyre, he didn't know. He didn't know what that was. To me, he looked like, what is the what? Y'all doing to all that. It was just the little things that he said on that initial stop where they was just overly aggressive from the start. Man, you doing too much. What is it? What? Okay. He didn't know what was going on. That's just he ain't cuss him out. He ain't act a fool.
I'm sorry. I gotta do it. I'm petty.
He petty. He said it. He a petty damn Betty. He a petty Betty. Yeah. And whoever he with, only with him for whatever he can provide when he want to, cause he seemed like he's selfish and self-centered. And if you don't do what he want, how he want it, he gonna put your ass on punishment, cause he's a petty Betty. I can't stand it. Tit for tat. And he said, I'm petty. Oh, wow.
If her son wasn't together at 29
Grow
years
up.
old and he's out on the street and he's running from where the police are, if he's running from them,
When all else fails, when they don't look like they buying what I'm saying, I gotta cuss, I gotta say fuck this, fuck that, fuck. And now I gotta talk about the mama, talk about the dad, I gotta talk about them. Now I gotta get petty with it so they can react the way I want them to react. They not feeling me. Yeah, don't nobody feel you.
I'm sorry.
But you.
If he doesn't have it together, and he should have it together, I apologize to her. She's a good woman. Cussing don't bother me, because I'd be cussing about my son if he's dead.
And if he didn't have it together or he had some mental issues going on, then they need more training to be able to identify with it. To be able to de-escalate. So for you to be saying that, you buying right on into the problem. If that's what you really want to use, yeah. So did he apply any of those trainings that they taught them when somebody have a problem? No, they didn't. Now let's go.
That don't bother me. But I know one thing. He didn't have it together. Tadarrius being had it together. She testified for not guilty. She testified not guilty. So this is where we are. I don't know how much time I got left.
None.
But I'm about to beg because I don't have a vote. I don't have the ability to stand back there and to say what's right, what's wrong, or anything. I spent 5 days in your city, and I respect you.
Yeah, if I would have been in there, I'd have been rolling my eyes in him. I ain't lying.
Story about not wanting to do it and overcoming whatever
My lips would have been turned.
imposition in your lives, because you got lives that you could be at home doing what you do. John Sr., my dad, taught me not to be jealous.
You
Not to be jealous.
what?
Don't go to somebody's house and come here talking about, hey, I wish we had that TV. Yeah. I couldn't do that. Not around him. He wanted me to have the type of character that Tadarrius Bean has. But I gotta be frank with you. When I did my Monday morning and Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, I was
Now you want to be like Bean.
where the aquatic center is. And when they're setting up, I don't know what the festival is. That city's right. That city's right. Now, this city has some good leaders. And this city has some leaders that I love. And there's some leaders that I love that are on the opposite side of what they think might have happened out there on that city. I respect that. I gotta respect that. But I also gotta respect the fact that in this particular case, you got 5 guys that are doing their damnedest to get home. I got one that I represent, that I am at the proud moment of my life to represent.
This is not about you, sir.
Because he did what I don't know if I would have the courage to do. He got out of the car and he grabbed a guy that he thought had done something wrong. That he had done it all these other times and it wasn't a problem. But on this particular night, because of how he looks afterwards, after this man had 56 times that they asked him for.
So you saying this happened before? And the only problem is how he looked afterwards. So you saying that there's some other guys out there that look like him afterwards? You say y'all they've done this countless times before. Ain't that what he just said? They beat him and kick him and beat him and kick him. I mean, because the only, the sky cam caught y'all doing it. Yeah, keep talking, dumbass.
His hands and refused to do it because of that public outcry, or whatever it might be. He's got to sit here in front of you all. He has to have put his life in the balance, and it's in your hands. So you got all these different subsets, and while you look at those different subsets, I challenge each one of you that at the end of it to discuss it, because the judge said, hey, you got to read all that stuff, and you're supposed to read it, and it is respectful to read it.
Oh.
But it should be just as easy as he did to jump out that car on each one, not guilty, and to sign it. On the count 2, where it talks about the it should be just as easy. On each one of these pages, you'll have the chance to strike not guilty.
Boo.
Not guilty, oppression. Not guilty, aggravated assault.
Boo.
Not guilty, especially kidnapping. Any of those different charges is simple. You've sworn yourself to do it. You don't owe anybody anything as it relates to sympathies. It's an easy task in this particular case. It's right or wrong. And there's no way to say that, hey, we've gotten to a day in our society and in our world that we can't appreciate the fact that our public officials put their lives on the line for us each day, and they're trying to do right. So it's not a case where they're abusing the badge and trying to go out there and prove a point, or to try to kill somebody or something like that because I'm trying to rob this dope boy. It's not that case. It's simple as ABC. I'm asking this man to do a test. I'm asking him to give me his hands so I can put the hand brace on, and he's not doing it. And I'm trying my best not to break an arm, break a leg. I'm doing everything I know how to do. And you ask me to be more responsible about somebody else's actions at that particular time and risk my own life is too much to ask.
That's what he signed up for.
That's why I'm jealous.
You jealous. I know you are. A lot of reasons why you jealous.
That you, at the end of the day, make this an easy verdict and end this foolishness. Get back to where your lives are. But make us have to have what it takes to do the right thing in this case. Overcoming any sort of public sympathies and things like that is simple. Tadarrius being not guilty. And in this case, it's not even a close not guilty. It's proven innocent. Thank y'all.
Bye. 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 Oh, baby. Look at him. He still think got him covered. He playing with his goatee. He playing. He over there playing footsies and shit. Oh, he think it's a joke, y'all. Okay. Okay. If you say so.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that we don't have any interruptions during the closing arguments, we're going to go ahead and end this now. Excuse you all for the evening. We're going to have you all come back this in the morning. We will pick right back up with the closing arguments from the remaining defendants, as well as the rebuttal, should the state choose to have such. So we're going to go ahead and excuse you all at this time. Please rest well. We will see you all tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to what y'all think about his closing argument? Did y'all buy it? What did that do for you?
Yes, okay, I just be no longer with the jury. Okay, all right, any other issues? All right, we'll go ahead and stand, we're gonna adjourn until tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. All rise. First adjourn to 9 o'clock in the morning.
What did that do for you? Yeah. He looked chopped. Ah. Hold on. What did that do for you? No, ma'am, auntie. What's that old song? Y'all know we I should not be moved. Yeah. Was you impressed? Was you impressed? Did that do anything for you? Did that give you some form of I see different now. I think he deserved everything that he got. So let's move on to old boy who knows the family. He say, let's go there. I'm not impressed. Who is Haley? I want to see what Haley's. That's the one who got to sell it. He really. It's all over. It's all over the place. Well, they got a lot of charges, and I don't know. Again, I'm gonna say I don't know if Bean is gonna be hit with that kidnapping stuff. Cause he wasn't on the first scene. That's the only reason why I say that. I don't know how that worked. Hell to the no. What y'all say? Hell no. We ain't going. You still didn't justify it. I don't care about none of that. None of that. He knew anybody that signs up to be a police officer in Memphis knows the possibilities. And you can tell by his mannerisms that he was not no thug. You could tell by his mannerisms. Okay. Y'all doing too much. Okay. Until they were still overly aggressive. That would have scared me too. I ain't gonna even lie. I'm saying, okay. You know, in a non-aggressive tone, and y'all still yanking me and pulling me and push, you know, all of that, you know, that's gonna make you be like, wait a minute, are these real? See me? I'd have been saying, are these real cops? Something ain't right. This don't feel right. You know? And then I don't think I would have ever ran from the police, but I don't know how I would feel, because the texture of that from the start didn't feel right. Get out, car, get over a blinker. Being left a felon. He let a felon go. to go after Tyre. So you stopping him for a signal, but you let a felon go. How that work? How that work, Perry? I'm jealous. Yeah, you jealous hearted. You come across like that anyway. Yeah, you come across like you jealous, and you petty. You so petty that you said fuck it. I'ma use his mama against him and the stepdaddy. He couldn't pull from nowhere else. He couldn't pull from nowhere else, y'all. I just need for y'all to be clear. He could not pull from nowhere else. Because just about everything that he said, you know, hell, just because they was in the trunk of his car don't mean he don't share the car with other people in the family or you know, what that mean. You can't ask them where it came from. You didn't ask him before y'all started beating him and killing him. So who's to say it was his because it was in his car? Do you know the circumstances of his car? No, you don't. But what we do know, okay, was that his stepdad shouldn't have said he didn't know him. So he went there. He had no choice. That's why he said, "I'ma gonna do it. I'm petty." Now, you didn't have nothing. You didn't have nothing that was gonna make them look funny. Think like, whoa. So you played the dozens, as my mama would say. Yeah, you used the mama against her child. Or his stepdaddy against his wife's son. Trifling. Yeah, trifling, petty. I like trifling. You're just trifling like that. But what is it gonna do for you? He's still going to jail. Yeah. He still made bad choices that day. And if he started hanging with Haley and Martin, then however good he was before got altered somewhere down the line. And it's funny that he's saying they didn't know him. It's almost like hell. It's almost like he done been over here to TT Simples. He started saying he didn't know him. They didn't have a plan. They didn't. How you know? How you know who they know? How you know? How you know that the word wasn't out and people who got bags on their heads, they don't went to the dirty ass cops and say, shit, nigga, if you see him handle that, there's a bag on some people's heads. How you know? I mean, they do things dirty. They all underhanded. That's a part of it. They dress like the thugs. They blend right in. They dark color clothes, dark Dodgers. Yeah, I mean, so what's the difference? I mean, come on now. If you already doing dirty stuff, what's the difference? every mob, every clique, every underground got somebody on the force in the jails system. Didn't Bean, wasn't he telling about drugs and giving confidential information? So please, sir, don't act like. Didn't they just have a girl? Hell, she was selling cookies, coochie, and playing with one cellmate and the other, sliding phones and shit all up in there. And yeah. So what you saying? Yeah, go on with that. But he did what he was supposed to do. Let's listen to old boy. Don't play with me. Y'all, Tisa, we've been doing this long enough to know. Yeah. How was Teasy getting picked up and let go, picked up and let go, picked up and let go? Oh, you don't want to talk about that? How was Juke? They been knowing the Juke was a part of setting the hit on Dolph. They been knowing that. Never arrested him. Why? How that happen? How that happen? But he didn't put his blinker on. He didn't put his blinker on. And it's an all man on deck. Yanking him out the car. Get your... For a blinker. But y'all been knowing Juke and Quet got it, them. Yeah, y'all been knowing. How that happen? I'm just saying, you know, this the Perry, you know, who act like, you know. If I would have been in the courtroom, y'all, on that jury stand, I'd have been looking at him like that. Y'all ready? Rolling my eyes. Oh, he got his church suit on, y'all.
Get everything set up.
Oh, Lord.
Mic's on.
Hold on. Let's hear what he had to say. Let's see what the family had to say. Let's go, y'all. Shout out to Steve. I mean, I don't want to. I gotta go on past. Go, Bean.
What up? Sharita, what's up? Miss Lee Constance? Barbara Kane? I was at court, but I was only, let me get half of the, they had closing arguments today. Guys, listen, let me get into this. They had closing arguments today. Now, I was only in court, in the courtroom. I was at court, but I was only in courtroom half of the time today because it was so cold in there. They had the temperature on like 50 degrees. It was so cold when I first went in there this morning, I came out and ran across the street to get in the sun because I was shivering. Later on, they rectified the air, but it still was cold in there. But, you know, as you guys can see, I was dressed up today. I'll be dressed up tomorrow, most likely, because we have 2 defense lawyers left to do their opening, their closing statements. Well, you know, their statements. So, today, prosecutor went.
What's the dynamic reason? How you think you cold as ice? You know, you got your good church suit, you got your pimp suit. So fresh as a click click. How you think you cold as ice, but you cold? You anemic, huh? You couldn't. You could. Ain't nobody cold as me. I'm just so fresh and so clean. How you couldn't sit it out? Take one for the team. I mean, how you gonna be cold and then get cold? You so cold you had to step outside. So you can't give us the first hand account because it was so cold. Don't go in there dressed up like this tomorrow, and you can you better go in there with some sweats and a hoodie or something. You need to bring you a blanket, sir. With all them layers on, and you cold, huh? Shout out to you. I'm just saying.
Her main thing was he just wanted to go home. You know, she showed the video, all three of the videos. He didn't resist. He didn't hit anybody, didn't cuss anybody. He was respectful. Even Hempfield said he politely, you know, resisted, whatever that means. And, you know, things are what they are. Mm-hmm. Now, in the second half, they were supposed to start at 3 o'clock. For some odd reason, they cannot start on time. So they started like almost 3:30 after. You know what I'm saying? So I already knew they wasn't going to get done today. As you seen, John Perry was up there talking, trying to clear the name Tadarrius B. Saying that all Tyre had to do was put his hands behind his
back. Y'all please hit the like button.
50-something times and all of this stuff. And what does he do? He walks off. That man was beat out of his mind. He couldn't remember nothing. Anybody instinctively, their body, whether they want to or not, would try to get away from a threat, even if you're in your right mind or not. So, I mean, he went up there and talked. Whole some of his thing is Tyre Nichols didn't listen. Tyre Nichols had reason to run because Tyre Nichols had the stolen credit cards and the mushrooms. That was his motive for taking an ass whipping, and things are what they are, which is messed up to say. These lawyers will say anything they can to get with their people and get them back to where, you know, they'll clear their name. And they saying some real disrespectful stuff in there, but I mean...
Because the reality of it is, hell, if he was really concerned about what was stolen in this car, he could have threw that out the window. I mean, he noted that they wasn't stopping him for that. And... yeah, but they weren't looking for that. And had they not ended his life, when he got picked up his car, it would have still been in there. Right? The only way they got it is TBI checked it. But hell, if he just went to jail that night, they'd have got his car out the pound, and that mushroom pack would have still been in the trunk. And them credit cards would have still been in wherever they was. Yeah, so go on with that.
What they are. Now tomorrow, we got we got Martin, and we got Haley's, not Emmett Martin. We got
not Martin.
Justin Smith and Demetrius Haley's lawyers tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they can wrap that up because these guys talk in circles. They say the same thing. They just come at different angles to do it. Mm-hmm. So a trial like this where it's just 20 minutes, let me say this to you, 20 minutes of video footage. They played this thing over 50 times. Nothing new surfaces, and they keep saying the same thing. It gets redundant. It makes no sense to sit in the courtroom when they're playing it all over the place and the thing, and you can watch it on your phone. And I ain't gonna deal with that stuff, that the cold. So I had commented earlier, and Robert Chapman was in the chat from Fox 13 Memphis. And he texted me like, yo, what are you doing? They just want to be in courtroom. I said, bro, I'm sitting right outside the courtroom right now.
Oh, you better take a blanket tomorrow.
I don't know why they got that air cut down, but
you need to take a blanket.
Going on. 2 more lawyers, Justin Smith, Demetrius Haley.
You'd be crazy about cleaning your apartment.
What's your name?
Seriously, Home would love to clean it for just 9
Look at here, dude. Look at here. Hold on. I need for you to listen to AunTeaFee. Right now, Right now is the time that you can go on up in TJ Maxx somewhere and get you a coat real cheap. Right now it's time you can go on up in there and get you a cool Joe jacket or something, you know. Take your ass shopping, get you a little old a coat, warm up real good, and go to, what? I'm looking at you side eye. Take them clothes off. We don't need to see you all dressed up. Hell, if you standing outside in the back, go on with that.
Deliberations. I was talking to members of the media.
A name dropping, and you can't sit in the courtroom.
Deliberation. Impossible. 20 minutes of vicious, savage footage. As far as the charges that they were saying they was hit with, it's self-explanatory. But then again, you never know with these trials.
I don't know
So,
about that
we'll
kidnapping
see. But I think
with
the deliberation, I say 4 hours. Guys, I want you to put in the comment section how many hours you think, if you guys have been keeping up with the case, how many hours do you think they're going to deliberate? Because you guys remember the civil rights case, they sent us out of there at 10 o'clock in the morning. By 4 in the afternoon, they had a verdict, so that was 6 hours. I don't think this is going to make 6 hours. And I found this out too. Memphis don't mess around. If they come up and they deliberate, say like this is over at, say the closing arguments are over at 12 noon. If they come to a decision at 10 o'clock at night, they will call you to the courthouse and read the verdict. They are trying to get rid of this case as fast as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say 6 hours? 2? I don't know. 2 hours might be, I don't know. I mean, there has been stuff for 2 hours before. But, yeah, that's what's going on, guys. Listen, I took a Z-Quil last night because I had anxiety. Y'all didn't catch it. I was doing these videos, and I'm like, man, I'm ready for this to be over because they keep doing the same thing. It's getting redundant. You know, this guy needs justice. They need to wrap this thing up because I've been home.
The family needs peace. They need to heal.
So I've been gone for 8 days. And the thing that's crazy is, you know, when this, how can I say this? When this whole thing is over, they take them immediately because people's asking questions about that. Once they read that thing, say it's at night or whatever, and they have them standing in there. As soon as they read the verdict, they take them immediately. And it ain't no, you got to put stuff in order and everything. Another thing is this. Today, guys, they had the families of the officers in there. You saw some family members. You know what I'm saying? They didn't say anything to nobody. It was mainly women. But you could tell they was related to the 3 officers up there.
Oh, so, they family was there.
That's what I got for the update. Y'all got some questions? What you got? What you say? And what happens to the other dudes that was involved? Why? Just 3 of them is in court. The other dudes that are involved took deals already. So they're already going to just wait to be sentenced after this is over with. You're talking about Emmett Martin III and Desmond Mills. They already took deals. Yeah, so they're already locked up. You know what I mean? Pending transport. Well, Mills ain't. Mills is still out until his federal sentencing. You know, so they're the ones after this trial, the ones that would be locked up, basically, will be Tadarrius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith, because they're the ones on trial. They're the ones that's going to get locked up immediately after the trial.
He friends with the Nichols family.
You know what I'm saying? That violated probation. So they got him locked up in the feds. So he's already locked up. And the only person that's out is Desmond Mills because he ain't been sentenced yet. So the only one after this trial to be free is Desmond Mills.
Desmond, what did it say about Martin? I was trying to read the comment.
Affiliate marketer.
What did it say about Martin? Hold on.
Been sentenced yet, so the only one after this trial to be free is Desmond Mills. Locked up in the feds. They're the ones that's going to get locked up immediately after the trial. Will be Tadarrius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith, because they're the ones on trial.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that's going to get locked up immediately after the trial. Emmett Martin is already locked up from that crazy stuff he did with his baby mama.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That violated probation. So they got him locked up in the feds.
Okay.
So he's already locked up. And the only person that's out is Desmond Mills because he ain't been sentenced yet. So the only one after this trial to be free is Desmond Mills. I feel funny with the suit. I'm ready to take it off.
Yeah, because you
I was
cold.
walking today. People was like, man, what, you a lawyer? I'm like, nah, I'm a regular dude. But yeah, man, I mean, I had a good time, man.
You too cold.
It's just a lot of redundancy with these cases. These guys are scrambling on a burning ship that's headed nowhere, and they're waiting for a miracle to drop. I don't see it. The crimes they charge with, no. When you see the crimes that they're charged with and all of that stuff, the way they explained it, I'm like, yo, they did everything that's explained in what that particular crime.
Yeah, how you gonna walk out of court? How
All
you
of those
got
counts, kidnapping,
Kidnapping.
second-degree murder, all this, because they keep telling the jury, without a benefit of the doubt. Without a benefit of the doubt, you got it. That's the part that's scaring me. Because some people get ticky-tack particulars of whether somebody does something or not. So
Let me
that's why I
tell you
told guys,
something.
You don't be
Let me see. Well, yeah, don't be surprised. Yeah, because even I, because I would be having to ask the judge for a little more clarity on that kidnapping. What part of this was the kidnapping? So I would assume that the kidnapping is from the initial stopping unlawfully, or really didn't have a reason to. And we know they didn't have a reason to because Martin has already confessed. And yes, they reacted off of what Martin put out there on the loudspeaker. He running. But Hempfield said when he was saying, he heard him say he was running, he wasn't running. So a lot of stuff that Martin was doing caused a reaction. But it still didn't mean beating. So my thing is, if that first stop, okay, I think I did answer it for myself. If the first stop was where the kidnapping began and chased him and held him, all of that was unlawful. Because I was about to say, well, why Hempfield wasn't charged since he was on the first stop? But he didn't chase him. All he said was, I hope they beat his ass. I hope they whatever, because he already know what they gonna do. You know what I mean? But they left one location and went to the other, will be my only trying to rationalize it on why Hempfield would not have been charged with kidnapping too, since he was on the first scene. But he didn't go to the second location and kick and stomp him. And Bean did. Because it was Bean and Desmond Mills and Hempfield. Was it Hempfield and when did Haley come? Yeah, that kidnapping. I don't know if they're gonna hit Bean with
All
that.
three of them don't get the murder charge.
And
But
Justin,
they're all up for it. So it's whatever the jury's saying, hopefully they'll get what they deserve. But they played a part of the video today, man, where this was the prosecution did, and it was sick. She played just the audio, Tyre Nichols getting beat up. And she told everybody, she said, I want you to focus on, the sounds of him getting kicked and him crying and screaming. He said, help me 3 times. I never even noticed that. I just want to go home. Help me, help me, help me. And that was the last you heard of it.
wow.
Sad. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to update.
Oh.
I am exhausted. Being in that cold and then coming out. And then I'm just exhausted. I had a suit on, so I'm...
Man, quit talking about that suit. Stop talking about that suit. Okay? Now you put on some some sweats. Double up. Okay, some thermals and some long johns. Okay? Let's hear Ben.
Yes, this is why I switched to injection-free weight loss. I was eating healthy, working out
I
every
don't
day.
know about this.
Another day of closing arguments in the murder trial of 3 former Memphis police officers.
Let me see if this is the same one I got up here. No, this is 3. I had 13. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see if he says. Oh, okay. They made a bad choice. Baby, and I tell you, it looked like his hair is falling out every day. It's getting thinner and thinner. Is this supposed to be where the... Okay, you got... Tell your barber to go and spray that up. Black that on up. Because, baby, that stress is eating you.
Court ended for the day in the trial of Tadarrius Bean, Justin Smith, and Demetrius Haley. Hello, I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
Hey, Steph.
This was the day for closing arguments. The prosecution and one defense attorney, but there are still...
Y'all not hitting the like button.
WRG's April
I'm
Thompson
finna get ready to go.
Is from the courthouse where the closing arguments will resume in the morning. April, fill us in on today.
That's right, Greg. The final 2 defense attorneys will give their closing statements tomorrow morning, and then this case will go to the jury. But today, the case got the attention of prominent attorney Ben Crump. He was here, and he represents Tyre Nichols' family in a civil lawsuit. He was here as the state gave closing arguments, and the defense attorney for Tadarrius being laid out why his client should not be convicted.
He got out of the car and he grabbed the guy that he thought had done something wrong. Now, he had done it all these other times and it wasn't a problem. But on this particular night, because of how he looks afterwards, after this man had 56 times that they asked him for his hands and refused to do it because of that public outcry, or whatever it might be, he's got to sit here in front of you all. He has to have put his life in the balance and is in your hands.
The blood is on the city of Memphis' hands for the death of Tyre Nichols. And no matter how much the officers or the city try to absolve themselves of this ungodly acts, they can't wash the blood of him off their hand. You just think about it. Everybody think about the last minutes of Tyre Nichols' life. You would not wish that on your worst enemy.
You ain't never
There
lied.
should be accountability. And so just ask, the family continues just to ask for prayers.
Hey, Grandma,
Defense attorney John Keith Perry argues that his client...
And court resumes tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. We will be here to cover all of it. Reporting for your news leader in downtown Memphis, April Thompson, WREG.
Hey, April.
All right, April with gavel.
Let me see, 13. Hold on. Ah, man, I wouldn't wish that. I mean, I just would not. I just cannot imagine them hits and them blows, baby. Them hits and them blows. And then for old boy to get up there and ooh, anyway. Hold on. It's on the book. Y'all get the likes up. I should have well over 100 likes and I don't. I should have well over 100. But that's okay. I'm gonna shut it down. Y'all already know. Shut it down. Shut it down. What's that old church? One of these on mornings. It won't be long. You look for me and I'll be gone. And he called Yeah, he called for his mama, and he also was crying out for help. He wasn't crying out for help because he didn't want to put his hands behind his back. He was crying out for help because they was beating him to death. And he was wanting somebody to come help him. Help me. Because I'm telling you, I would have assumed that these people were not real police officers. If I'm a parent. Oh, that closing argument was, I'll be asking for half my money back with him. Can I need some of my money back. For real. Well, I don't know. If I was his daddy, I would be proud. Shit. Okay. Okay, if you say so, sir. If you say so. What is Chelsea?
7:03. Explosive testimony in the Tyre Nichols trial. Former Memphis police officer Desmond Mills Jr. describing how he and other officers beat and kicked Nichols even when he was helplessly lying on the ground.
Yeah, and he was saying it didn't look good after he had hit him with the baton 3 times. He was on the stand. And pretty much all day yesterday, Fox 13's Dominic Dillon joining us live from downtown. So what's going to happen today, Dominic?
Oh, this said this was closed.
Well, Ernie, we can certainly expect to see more.
Hold on, because they said this was today.
And his guilty plea against him sprayed himself.
My eyes were shut.
Oh no, this ain't what I'm trying to see.
And I heard the thump. I heard the thump sound. And I heard after the second one.
I wonder why they didn't ask for none of them to get back up there. Oh no, this ain't what I thought this was. I'm sorry, y'all.
Was punching Mr. Nichols. After I peeked and looked.
Cause it said closing argument, so they clickbait. 13 be clickbaiting.
And then I didn't want to look no more because it didn't look good.
It didn't look good.
Mills also watched.
It didn't look good. Hold on, let me see what else I got pent up her. Pent up her. It didn't look good. And I hope and pray. I really hope and pray that the man that they say didn't know him, I hope they all sue the pants off him. I mean, the draws. I mean, the funky draws. Hold on, y'all. We need a word before we go. We need a word. We need a word. I hope he sued the funky draws off there. Hold on. Before we go, they done said they done found the real reason why Finesse got locked up. I'm going to try to come back. I got to talk about... Okay, hold on. I need to go here. I was going to wait. Until I talked about Carmelo Anthony. But it was some things I kind of heard. No, you can't hold my hand. Some things I kind of heard in between some things. I got to check that out. Oh, yeah.
Include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. This week, folks. And use Cassie and all these other...
Point out, Roland.
Make. And I need people to be... Look at this here. This is bringing black people down. I was actually very... Here is from September 2024. Somebody who supports officers. Remember we had Megan Cundiff on. And we talked about the case of this Los Angeles County deputy sheriff who was convicted. Let me say it again. He was convicted of beating her. She was an innocent bystander. She was videotaping. Well, remember we told y'all on this show. Remember we told you to be very careful because we said what was going to come down is that Donald Trump was going to do something. Do you now realize?
I better listen with your good ear.
That the U.S. attorney, post-conviction, is offering a plea deal. I remember we warned everybody what was going to happen. Remember they asked for a 3-month extension so he could review the case. The judge well, what the hell is there to review? The man was found guilty. He said, no, we moving forward with this. Well, this U.S. attorney offers a plea deal. Go to my iPad. Now, federal prosecutors.
But he was already found guilty.
Resigned because of that plea deal. This is the Los Angeles Times.
But he was already found guilty.
Federal prosecutors, including the chief of the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Section, have submitted this is the LA Times, have submitted their resignations following a plea deal offered by the new U.S. attorney in Los Angeles to a sheriff's deputy who had already been found guilty of using his.
How can you already be found guilty and they offer a plea deal?
To the Times that Assistant U.S. Attorneys Eli Alcaraz, Brian Fairstein, and Section Chief Cassie Palmer resigned from the office over a post-trial plea agreement filed Thursday in the case of Trevor Kirk, an L.A. County Sheriff's deputy who was convicted of a felony for assaulting and pepper spraying a woman outside Lancaster supermarket. This deputy sheriff was relieved of
Mayday protest.
was found guilty in February of one felony count of deprivation of rights under color of law.
Backwards, yep.
Face up to 10 years in prison. Under the plea deal filed Thursday.
How do you are found guilty and they offer a plea deal?
He will serve a maximum of 1 year in prison. The government agreed to recommend a
And why the judge didn't deny it? The judge didn't have to honor it.
In June 2023, Kirk was responding to a reported robbery when he threw a woman to the ground and pepper sprayed her in the face while she filmed him outside a Lancaster Winco. While the woman matched the description of a female suspect Kirk had received from a dispatcher, she was not armed or committing a crime at the time he first confronted her, court records show.
And then got over resisting.
Kirk would plead guilty to a lesser included misdemeanor violation of deprivation of rights under color.
Oh, wow.
If the plea is approved by the judge, according to the agreement, the U.S. Attorney's Office would, quote, move to strike the jury's finding that Kirk injured the victim.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Ome Congo.
He was found guilty.
This right here.
And they turned around and offered.
This right here is a perfect example. This is all Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Department of Justice does not believe that cops should go to prison. Donald Trump has said he's going to give them 100% immunity for doing their job. He issued the executive order last week to protect them financially. I need people to understand that Donald Trump is giving cops a pass. The only reason this is a federal trial. Donald Trump has no jurisdiction over the trial in Memphis, state trial. Can't get involved in that. Federal, he can. I'm telling you right now, Ome Congo, I'm telling you right now, write it down. If this judge rejects this plea deal, matter of fact, even if he accepts the plea deal,
that's what I'm saying. You don't have to accept it.
I guarantee you, I will put $1,000 on it that Donald Trump is going to pardon this deputy sheriff.
Wow. Wow. It's, sometimes you're motivated and you're inspired. You're doing this work every day. We're fighting. And then sometimes you get these stories that just take you down, a notch. And this is kind of one of those because it's just another reminder of what this man is doing, not only to protect cops, but to protect white supremacy at all levels. When you couple this with...
So y'all remember the other day? Was it yesterday? And I went way off in there. I mean, I went deep off in there. Y'all remember that? And I tried to get y'all to understand. I tried to take you back to where his mindset, their mindset, the wizard's mindset yesterday is back then. That's the mega, making America great again, making America white again. And then sending the ones who get struggle or resist or resentment or what is it called when you bucking Toby, and trying to run and chop his foot out. And then when y'all continue to be repeat offenders, they gon' ship you off. And let me say it again. Ship you off, take you away from the U.S. and put you on foreign land. That's his plan. Okay.
Programs that they're getting rid of in schools that work with black kids, because they say they want to right historical wrong, the way they're gutting civil rights divisions. This is part of it. This is also a DOJ that got rid of all of its investigations into white supremacy in the police and in the military. So they want this. They want to reward this in every way, shape, and form. And people need to really buckle up for not even what's coming, what's already here. You're talking post-trial they're doing this. How many trials are they going to go back and do this to? And how many judges might be down with this? How many prosecutors, might be, cool with this? Like, okay, yeah, maybe. This is what literally attacking the rule of law looks like. And it's happening from the place that's supposed to be the head of law in this country. This is scary. This is going to be happening across the country if it's not happening already. And we already have in Texas where, Abbott's, pardoning people on state levels. This is what Trump is going after in every way, shape, or form. And people were so happy when Matt Gaetz didn't get the job and they picked Bondi instead because she was going to be the sane one, the better one. She is the same instrument doing the same thing. Yeah. And people need to be on notice.
This right here, Julian, this is the U.S. attorney who Trump appointed. This says Trump ally and rising California GOP star YOGOTTI is named top federal prosecutor in L.A. That's him right there.
What is
Remember the California Assembly?
What is that?
Bill YOGOTTI, okay? This is him right here. This is the man who wants this cop to get off. This is the man who asked for the delay. And see, the reason this is important because you got some Negroes out here, Julian, and I love it when they love talking trash about me and, oh, you're a Democrat shield, and all they end up doing is making excuses for Donald Trump. What these individuals are doing, and it's happening before our very eyes, is that people don't understand it. This is going to reverberate against black people.
Yeah.
I need people watching to understand, and I'm trying to warn y'all. This is what we tried to warn people about before the election. All of that energy.
They had PPP on their mind.
Police abuse. Donald Trump is saying,
beat them.
Black people and everybody else, do not bother calling the Department of Justice. We're not taking your phone calls. We're not going to file any civil rights claims against these cops. We're not going to prosecute these cops. We're not going to do anything against these cops. We support these cops. In fact, Trump is saying we support these cops beating people. We are down with their heinous actions. What did we go through last week? What did we tell people last week about this? We were very clear about we were very clear. This was the executive order that he signed on April 28th. Strengthening and this is the key word, unleashing America's law enforcement.
Unleashing.
And in section 2,
unleashing.
This is the most important thing. All of those shakedowns Donald Trump has done against these major law firms, this is where it shows up. The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and identification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce
that's
the law.
Salvador.
This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. Nowhere in this executive order does Donald Trump give a damn about the victims of police abuse and brutality. He's saying, I am prepared and ready to protect the cops.
No question, Roland. I mean, but we know this.
Population
Getting,
control.
Millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars of pro bono services from these law firms. We all had to be asking, where were these services going to go? Now we see the deal with the executive order. But he's spoken many times to law enforcement, decrying the fact that they're under scrutiny. This is an extension this is lynching culture 2.0, where basically you say you can do whatever you want to somebody and expect no consequences. And if there are consequences, that the federal government will do what it has to do, what it can do to protect you. Pam Bondi, she's spoken to this. They've all spoken to this. It's criminal, but this is
criminal.
You know, I just saw some of your merch, and they had an FAF.
Yeah, so that's the thing that killed me. They beat Tyre Nichols. They say because he resisted, he did something criminal, right? But you got a criminal president. You got a criminal law enforcers that break the law, that know what they're doing, they're not supposed to do. What's the difference? He wants them to eliminate as many of these, because kind of in his mind, he was like, how dare them think they entitled to resist? Well, hell, they follow behind you, you resist. What's the difference? Oh, because you white. They can resist. But black folk, oh yeah. We offer him a deal. We don't want him to go to prison. We don't want him. Well, he guilty. Yeah, we know. Yeah. Call on the wizard. Let him come talk it down. Yeah, you know, hell, she shouldn't have been filming him. Yeah. Well, she has a right to film. Yeah, but hell, leave him alone. Offer him a deal. Make it go away.
Hat, and I'm gonna give you one, because this is what people voted for. And now, to see, you never see this violence solely visited on black people. In order to do this to black people, you have to do it to other people. So you're not having white people, Latinos, Trump voters, understanding that they come for us in the morning. If they come for black folks in the morning, they're coming for you at night, and they are coming for them. And that's not what they voted for.
Oh yeah, I mean, what did they think? He told y'all what was coming. He told y'all what was coming. But again, I'm gonna say what he did was he twinkled. He knows how to give black people is give them something. Give them something. They'll forget. They'll look the other way. They'll praise you. They'll kiss the ground you walk on. Yeah. Give them something now. We'll snatch it later. Yeah, make them think that I'm their friend. And then we'll eliminate them. Yeah. how you think wasn't it who being deported that voted for him? Yeah. How you think they feel? Huh? Because you know they don't like black people. They think they better than us. I mean, they swam over and jumped over the fences and the walls and shit, but you know, they came got us. Yeah. they needed the strength of a black man. Yeah. But y'all had to swim across the water and shit. But y'all think y'all better. And how y'all feel now? Because y'all voted for him. Yeah. He played in a whole bunch of people's face. Just as soon as they voted for him. Now he's deporting them. ICE all over the place. Yanking them off their jobs. Some of them ain't never lived over there. Take them too. They don't know nobody. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't know how else he gonna show you. Hell, he brought the virus over and then act like he didn't know nothing about flu. He thought it was just the flu, like he had never heard of a pandemic and lying through his teeth, if he still has some, because that's how his grandpappy died. His grandpappy died from the Spanish flu, a pandemic. So don't act like you ain't never heard of that before. You a lie. You a lie, and the truth ain't in you. You know firsthand. Yeah. But let's go.
FAFO. The challenge to it, of course, is it spits in the face of the rule of law. It ignores the notion of any kind of due process. The jury went through a deliberation. We lift up juries. We say we care about them. They went through a deliberation, and now they're saying, well, yeah, maybe we'll do a plea deal after the fact. That makes no sense at all. But what makes sense is that the police are being given essentially a green light for brutality, and there are very few in government, certainly not in the Department of Injustice, who are willing to push back and say, oh, hell no. And that's what needs to happen. I expect, we're coming up on summer, or maybe we're in time, I don't know. We expect to see more street violence, and we also expect to see more police officers indemnified before they even have a process on this.
Well, first of all, Congo, they already are. They already are.
Yeah, they already are.
And they already get legal support. But Trump is just saying point blank.
For the WBs,
whatever you want,
not the BBs.
And I'm laying this
the WBs.
Because I need people to understand the climate that we're living in. The climate that we're living in. We told y'all how this thing was going to be unfolding. We said it the last time this thug was in the Oval Office. Now what you're seeing is this thing now on steroids. You now are seeing not only cops unleashing, being emboldened. You're now seeing other folk emboldened. You are seeing the absolute craziness that takes place. You're seeing how these people are treated. Take the case of this Shiloh Hendricks.
Oh, I don't want to talk about her right now.
Shiloh Hendricks. Now, some of you have seen the video of Shiloh Hendricks attacking a black child. Caught on video, having no problem at all being absolutely racist in these attacks on a playground.
Hey, Jay Wilson.
Let me show you this video. I know a lot of y'all have seen it.
Yeah, I haven't, and I don't want to right now. Because listen, let me tell you something. I was about to bring her up earlier, but I wanted to bring her up with the Carmelo Anthony situation. Let me tell y'all something. This heifer, and I haven't done any research on her, but for the little bit I've heard about her, I mean, y'all listen. They are so freaking jealous of us. that it don't make no sense. I mean, when I say they want everything that we have, how dare y'all raise this money for this little black boy, whatever word they want to use, until it becomes a competition. It becomes a competition. Y'all haven't heard them question anything about what Jeff Metcalf done with that money. Nothing. And so when black folks saying we don't care what they do with it, then now they saying, well, shit, let me raise some money. Let me come up with a sad story and to make people go into their pockets. So and we gonna raise more than them. More than them. That's what they on right now. I mean, I can listen to a little of it, but I gotta go because I ain't.
How the racists are just jumping out of the woodworks. Watch this.
I don't want to see her talk.
Did you call the word? It is not dismissed. You call him a... Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Fuck you, Nick. Alright, that's what you say.
You're more digging into people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna...
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5 years ago the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act.
That's what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
The guy who's shooting that says, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say. Now, this wasn't the only video. That was a different video. Okay, so watch this one here.
Call him a child? Did you call the child the word?
Yeah, spoiler alert. While I censor it, she uses...
Now, again, this of course is, you see...
Okay, yeah, I'm finna go.
Breaking these things down. Now, she is attacking a kid while she's carrying a kid. But I want y'all to understand what's going on in terms of how the racists are just so excited by this. Then you have, again, the racists like Matt Walsh, of course, of the Daily Wire, and he's an absolutely white supremacist. He has no problem supporting racists. So listen to
he wears a red.
It is, in the end, a net positive that this woman has raised $500,000. I'm glad she has. I hope she raises $1 million. I will not be joining with some of my conservative friends in wagging my finger at her donor. And I'll explain why. First of all, she does have a legitimate need for the money. The mob is truly trying to get her killed.
The mob.
I don't believe that a woman should have her life threatened saying it, or even a bad one. And you could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech, all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence of your speech, then...
But this is the same cat that said Carmelo Anthony wasn't threatened. You know, those boys didn't deserve what happened. They didn't need to move. Carmelo Anthony and them didn't need to have to move. What are they doing with the money? But it's okay for her to raise $500,000. He hopes she gets $1 million. Kind of like Metcalf, right? But y'all want to police how the Anthonys spend their money. Yeah, okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go. I'm 2.5 hours in, and I don't, that's gonna stress me out. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye. I can't, y'all. I can't. I can't. But I don't know what y'all expect, because these are the people who are going to be armed. He going to be a Kyle Rittenhouse. You know what I mean?